So I'm sitting here trying to post just different things, different writings on my Ko-Fi and Patreon, right? I'm sitting here, and as I'm doing this, so pretty much my method with this is I basically just I put the whatever I'm writing, I write it in my notes, and then I just copy it over and put it into my Ko-Fi and into my Patreon, right? Um, so as I'm doing this, uh, I think I'm putting the second, yeah, the second. So pretty much, I. God damn it! And the thoughts are this. As I'm speaking, the thoughts are then in my fucking head. The same thoughts I'm trying to talk about right now are just going over and over and over and over and over again in my head as I'm trying to speak about what I'm thinking. The brain's just fucking weird, you know? It's just really fucking weird. Anyways, so as I'm trying to post the writings that I've done, well, I mean, in this case, it's really just, it's just I think it's two or three. Are there two? Hold on, let me see. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's three total. So three separate YouTube comments threads, right? And the point of posting the entire thread is to kind of give context as to why I end up responding with what I respond with. Because I don't want to just post like my response and then that's just it. But no one understands why that's there. And even then, I've noticed that. So I noticed in the third one I'm gonna post. I noticed that I don't know how long it took me to do it, but I sent basically like a wall of text, but it was just a really lengthy response. And I noticed that after I posted it, right after I sent the reply, however you want to say it, someone else replied. And I noticed as I was looking at their reply, I was curious on who they replied to, and I went back to the comments, or I in the notifications box, I pulled down the rest of it and I couldn't see mine. I'm like, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I just did it. I wasn't there, you know? So I went back to the comments and it was just gone. So I'm thinking, what? That's kind of fucked up. Like now, I don't know why it's gone. It could be the owner of the channel deleted it, or YouTube themselves deleted it, or someone reported it, causing YouTube to delete it. Um, Now I don't think YouTube would just randomly delete random comments, but I don't know. But I do notice how, like, when I'm posting videos, there's a section where you can limit how many people are commenting. But I don't know. Like, I can actually, I'm probably gonna check after I finish recording this to see if it's still on there, because maybe it's just a limit thing. But I don't think so, because I went back and checked again when someone else replied and it was still there. So I don't know. That was just weird. Um, but yeah, so pretty much in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. I took a lot of time to put, and when you see it, well, if you even care to look at it, um, you'll see how much it was that I typed out. You know, it was a lot. But the only thing I think of is that there was like a slight bit of like self advertisement in there, and it was pretty much just me talking about, um, like theoretically, if I was God, ways I could make the universe more interesting, or just make our world more interesting. Basically, if it's this all powerful being, right, and yet we're stuck with flawed bodies, and there's nothing that we can truly do to affect the world around us. Now, technically, there is. Um, Obviously, in a literal sense, you can use, because we all live in a capitalist society currently. For the most part, even if you don't, you still pretty much do. The world revolves around money. Um, so you could go the literal way and use your money, no, excuse me, to make to make tangible change around you, right? Um, Now with that, first course of action is to set up security and then go with your plan, because ultimately, sadly, if you make too big of a change and affect the people that don't want to be affected in negative ways, then you could just end up dead, sadly. And the only way to avoid that is to either be so smart and so crafty and creative that they can't kill you, or to have the skills to where they can't kill you. It's like if people are trying to kill like ex-marines that like went through like a lot of training or whatever, even hitmen or whoever they're tasked with killing, they can't kill them, because or it's extremely difficult, because they're trained. They're constantly watching their surroundings. They have a routine they do every day, or they do things for a specific reason, basically. Um, yeah. Or you could go like the Tony Stark route, and then either come up with the designs yourself, or or hire people to make the designs, just like how fucktard Elon, how he hires people to basically do all of his shit, and then claims he's the one that did it. Now, for all we know, he's the one that came up with all the designs and stuff, and he's the one that's guiding them as to how they're doing it, and then they're just the ones that are literally making everything. Um, or it could be that maybe he comes up with parts of it, and then everyone else comes up with the rest, and he just claims credit for all of it. Doesn't really matter. The point is, um, for example, you could have like we're in a world of robots now, or almost sort of in a world of robots, but they're not like walking around currently. Now there are dogs every now and then you'll see them. Um, Now where I live, you don't. This is a fucking shitty ass place. But that's also another thing. It just sucks that people have to live in shitty environments. Like they can't afford anything else. Now, some of it is complacency, where they've just lived in these environments for so long that they're just used to it and they don't want to leave. That's understandable. Um, but other aspects, like they just can't afford it. They can't afford to leave, you know? Um, and yeah, it's easy to say, oh, well, we'll get a better job or work harder to make more money, blah, blah, blah. And yes, those are true. Those are valid responses, valid ways to actually improve your life. And at the end of the day, working smarter, not harder, is the way to go. But that's hard to say when you have kids. I don't have kids, luckily. Holy shit, that would fucking suck. Oh my goodness. Not that like kids suck, but it would just suck to where like I couldn't do anything that I'm doing right now if I had kids. You know what I mean? But I kind of forgot the entire point of me. Oh, the thoughts. That's right. So basically, self doubt, really big issue, right? And as I'm trying to post these things, I'm constantly thinking, who the fuck cares? You know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna look at this shit. No one gives a fuck. I'm putting all this work and effort into it, and no one gives a shit, you know? And the worst part is, and the easy thing to do is to say, oh, go get a job, you know? And even me saying this, because I've constantly heard that so much, so much, so much throughout my entire life, basically. Um, Especially recently, it just makes you feel like nothing you're doing is enough, you know? Like I'm putting effort and time into this, but it doesn't really matter, you know? And I know in the end it will pay off. Like people will start caring, people will start looking at it, and I can do more. I could turn my posts that I post on Instagram, which I'm trying to do today. Um, I could turn my posts into reels, turn them into stories, and post them that way, which would basically which would basically be me, uh, just making posts on Twitter of my stories, or my little like story bits, above like AI generated images, that are pretty damn cool. Um, I personally I like it. I enjoy seeing just like the interesting the interesting characters or interesting scenarios or interesting concepts in AI art. Like it's really, really, really interesting. Like if you see two characters standing, right, and there's a giant dragon looming in front of them, right? What goes through your mind? What story is that? Like if you were there, what kind of world would that be? What kind of swords do they have? What are they made? What are the swords made of? What are their words? What are their what are their clothings made of? What is their armor made of? What are they? They look human, yeah, but what if they're not human? Um, what's the dragon? What type of dragon is it? You know what I mean? Like let's say it's a quote unquote black dragon, right? Well, what kind of black dragon it is it? Is it a black dragon? Is it an abyssal dragon? Is it a void dragon? They're all just kind of concept of just darkness and blackness. Like you could have, and then you could have like let's say there's those words. Let's say there's those three. Oh my goodness! Let's say there are those three types of dragons, right? Black, abyssal, and void, right? Black dragons, standard black scales, right? Abyssal could be like a darker shade of black, and they have like the typical like cosmic looking eyes or cosmic looking scales on some parts of them, right? Or just maybe just riddled throughout, you know. Or it could be a quantum thing where there's one scale that gives like the little sign the little sign that it's an abyssal dragon, but when you look at it, it then disappears and the scale goes to a different part of the body, pretty much. So the trick is to find the scale, but not look at it. Now I don't know how you would do that in a game, because obviously you can have a lock-on system, right? But how do you lock onto the specific part of the dragon? You know what I mean? You know? Um, but it could be a thing where you can lock into the dragon, and when you're just looking at the dragon as a whole, it doesn't disappear, right? But let's say you defeat the dragon, and you just remember the body parts and everything, and you cut the scales into like patches, right? Like you basically have like patches of the scales. Maybe there's like 9 to 12 scales per patch, right? So now you can actually lock on to the individual scales to actually target them. Maybe you want to dissect them, maybe you want to scrape them, maybe you want to like peel them, whatever it is, right? Depending on your method of trying to get the material from the scales, right? Um, but the point is, right, you can then lock onto the individual parts of the scales, and that's how the quantum effect takes over. You lock onto that you lock onto that specific part, right? And then when you do, then it disappears and goes to a different scale. And regardless of how many parts the scale is on, or how many parts the dragon is, ugh, fuck words. Regardless of the parts, regardless of the amount of parts the dragon is in, right? Regardless of how many patches, right? It just it moves to any part basically. Like there could be a set order, you know, and that could be a mystery of maybe the specific order in which the abyssal like patches go in could be like a key. Could be basically a mathematical key to unlocking something. Maybe let's say all the abyssal dragons actually live in a giant kingdom or a giant plane outside of reality, or just in a different plane than the standard one that everyone exists on. Correct, right? Um, that was a lot of words. I don't know. Hope I think eventually you'll understand, because I've been meaning to like. Fuck it. I guess now's a good time to any, right? So basically, the way I framed my entire universe thing slash multiverse um, is basically there's 5 layers, right? There's a standard layer where this makes me think of two things. This makes me think of Shrek. Onions have layers. and Abba and Preach when they're mimicking the other person. That's just the layers thing, the layers of oppression thing. That's always a funny concept. And technically, that's true. There are layers to oppression, just like there's layers to suffering, right? Um, like one could say, killing someone is less harmful than like graping them, right? I know it's gonna go on YouTube, and I can't say the R word, so yeah. Um, I say that because killing someone, once they're dead, their suffering ends, right? But if you grape someone, their suffering is continuous. They have to live with that for the rest of their life. And the worst part is, oh, the perpetrator, they go to prison. Nice, but they still can't feel the suffering that the other person felt. You know. Now, I would advocate, this is going to be extremely fucked up and a bit extreme, but I think it's pretty fucking reasonable, right? If you grape someone, you deserve to be graped. That just makes sense. An eye for an eye, but to like the most equivalent it can possibly be. It's like, so like another thing that if you care to look at it, there's another like writing bit that I have in here, right? Where I'm responding to someone that says like an eye for an eye type of comment, right? But they're saying how like in like Muslim countries, um like if you steal something, they chop off your hand. Now that's extreme in my opinion. That's not an eye for an eye. That's like an eye for a skull. I think I actually use that exact uh um analogy or exact type of response in the thing. Anyway, I don't know. I think that would be an analogy. Would it be an analogy? I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I forget. Like I like using like methods of speaking, but I've noticed like I forget what the fuck they are. You know what I mean? Like I'll use different things and I don't know what they are. Like I don't know what the concept I'm using is, or I forget what it. Not that I don't know, I just forget what it is. Um, yeah, my memory is fucking terrible. By the way, my memory is atrocious. It's fucking horrid. Anyways, so like, but what would make more sense is, okay, you steal something, all right. Besides paying a fine or just paying back what you stole, okay. At the end of the day, you have to remember this is a material item, even if it has sentimental value. It's still a material item, right? Even that sentimental nature to it can still be replaced if you buy a new one, right? Not that eventually you're going to forget that it's not the original, but eventually you're just going to get used to that new one replacing the sentimental value of your old one, because at the end of the day, it's just a way for you to anchor the memory to something tangible, so that, like, it's like when someone gets dementia, right? They have like their memories are all fucked. They can't remember a lot of things, or they go in and out of remembering things, right? um Even to the point of like they forget who they are. They forget who people around them is, right? Who people around them is, people around them are, people around them are. Yeah, they forget who people around them are, right? Um, but if there's some kind of tangible anchor to that memory, it can just spark that memory back up, and they can remember a lot. Or they can just remember that moment, and remembering that moment will then help them remember the people in that moment, which they could be in that room, which then anchors them to the people in the room, which they can then connect to the people in that moment, even if it doesn't last for that long. It could maybe last for 5 minutes, maybe a minute, maybe an hour or so, but it's still something. You know what I mean? It's something to anchor your memory back to that moment, so you can still remember, right? So, yeah, but basically, words make what make anyways, words. Um, fuck, what is it? Oh yeah, yeah. So, fuck. I had it, I lost it. I had it, then I lost it. I had it. Oh, eye for an eye. Yeah. So what makes more sense, right? Is you steal something, you either go find what you stole and you return it, and you get a fine, or if you can't find it, you get maybe like the increase your fine. Maybe it's like you get a fine for the actual item and what it's worth, and a little extra on because you couldn't even find the original that you lost, or you sold or whatever the fuck, right? Um, and then like if you did want to go to extreme measures, okay, worst case scenario. you get your middle finger chopped off, and I say that because you can still function with the rest of your fingers if your middle one's chopped off, right? But that's still too far in my opinion because it's still a permanent loss, you know. But I guess it would still just depend, right? Maybe not the middle finger, maybe the tip of the finger, right? And that's just if you want someone to just lose something because now it's understandable. There's a permanent reminder of your wrongdoing. It's understandable, um, But at the end of the day, uh, once we get to the point where people stop identifying so much with their body and they more identify with who they are, and they just that's them, not their body, then I think even then it would be harder to prosecute people for that type of, with that type of thing, right? Let's say someone steals some shit, and their society it's extreme. They chop off their hand. Okay, well, I don't like just having no hand, so I'm gonna go and actually chop off my entire arm and get a better arm. You know, I'm gonna go to this super engineering company, and they're gonna engineer me this fucking awesome ass arm. You know, yeah. At the end of the day, committing a crime doesn't bar you from buying products. You know what I mean? Yeah. But self doubt sucks. Uh, like it really, really, really fucking sucks. You know, like I have so many ideas, so many desires for not only myself but for the world and the people around me. Like if I could just show you what's in my fucking head, bro. Like ah, it's so difficult, but it's not. It's not at the same time. I have notes. I have so many fucking notes. Oh my goodness, so many notes, dude. Um, I think it's just a self doubt that's holding me back, though. Like that's what's stopping me from doing it. That's what's stopping me from doing what I want. It's what's stopping me from showing people what I want to use to help the world and help the people around. So like imagine a world, right, where our entire society, our entire world was what had a safety net, right? Built on the back of entertainment, something that we funnel a lot of money into. UFC, so like in any sports, right? Even like esports, right? Um, Fucking watching TV, television programs, movies, uh, video games, any and every form of entertainment, right? Now imagine if everything that makes money from entertainment, you are required to give 1% or 10% um of your money to basically the worldwide safety net, right? The worldwide safety net. No, no, no. Um, right? And that way, and the entire purpose of it is so that people can have housing, they can have food, they can have water, and no one has to go. No one has to go hungry or sleep on the streets if they don't want to. Um, you know what I mean? So let's say like that was reality, right? So I am personally comfortable existing in a single room my entire life. I've done that for like a year, right? Before I started a job that I recently got fired from because I blew up on this fucking lady because she was an asshole. Um, that's a whole other story. God damn. I kind of feel bad about it now, but I kind of don't because she was a fucking asshole for literally no reason. Like she walks up and the first thing she says, so basically I was a fundraiser, right? The first thing she says is don't fucking talk to me. And at that point, I was like, I think I was just about to look at her because I have to look at, or I pretty much have to like greet people, as they're just going to the places so I can talk to them as they're coming out and talk to them about what I'm fundraising for to see if they want to donate, right? And yes, people don't have to talk. People don't have to be nice to you, but that also doesn't mean that they have to be assholes to you. And the sad part, in reality, the sad part is that people act this way because there are no consequences, you know? Now, that doesn't mean you, like, assault people because they're being assholes to you. No, that's stupid. That's stupid and barbaric and idiotic, right? But there are no consequences. You know what I mean? And even if there are, it doesn't matter because they still have the free will to just care or not care. They can just go their entire life and not give a shit, right? And it's sad, and it just, and in hindsight, I just feel bad for her, kind of. Like, not really, but I kind of do, just because it's like, that just sucks. That's a sucky way to live. You see someone, and they have a table and everything, and you know what they're gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. Everyone knows what people with a table are asking for. We're asking for money for X reason. Maybe it's a fundraiser. Maybe it's usually some kind of fundraiser. Um, there was a guy. I didn't meet him that day, but it was a guy. There was one for veterans. There's another one for breast cancer. There's ones for animals. Um, and then there's like so like specifically in Dallas, Texas, right? You'll see people where they don't have tables or anything. They typically have like vests, right? And sometimes they're purple, but sometimes they're different colors. And apparently they switch. They switch. Like they have like three different charities three different charities, three different charities that they do like year round, right? And they switch like every few months or every 4 or 5 months, right? Well, it would have to be every few months, but yeah, every few or 4 months, right? Um, but yeah, those people are fucking assholes. Oh my god, that day was fucking wild as shit. Oh my goodness, that was wild. Wow. But yeah, anyway, um, people know what we're doing, right? We're adding for money for blah 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 reason, right? Um, but it just sucks to be treated like shit for especially no reason. You know what I mean? And it's like even if someone is a complete asshole, right? Even if they're like a murderer, you know, there's a part of you that still kind of feels bad for treating them like shit just because of what they've done. Because at the end of the day, they are you and you are them, right? They're just you in a different time, a different place, in a different life, you know? That could have been you if you were them, you know? At the end of the day, none of us have control over where we were born, how we were born, when we were born. I could have been born in fucking feudal Japan or Germany during the Holocaust or fucking 50 years ago, where where I probably would have been lynched in the damn street. You know what I mean? Type shit. Like, that's wild as fuck to think about. Or I could have been born 2,000 years from now, where I don't know where we'll be. I think by then, in all honesty, I genuinely think by then we will discover that we live in a simulation, and some people will freak out, but eventually people will just have to accept it. Because at the end of the day, your existence not exactly being predetermined, but it's more so that a being outside of your reality can see your entire timeline. That doesn't affect you. Honestly, it doesn't affect you because whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And at the end of the day, you are the ultimate decider of your destiny. You know, it's like instead of us viewing destiny as, oh, we're destined for X thing, it's more so that you're destined for a destiny. You're destined to have a destiny. Wherever your road ends, that is where it was meant to end in this time, in this place, in this reality. This version of you was destined to end at that point. You know? So, for all I know, I could be destined to just get hit by a fucking car tomorrow. You know? Or I could be destined to. Sorry, I just slapped my leg if you heard that. I don't know. Um, or I could be destined to end up a fucking quadrillionaire and get sniped somewhere, you know. Um, or it could be destined to actually achieve my goal and chop off my fucking head and become a cyborg so I can have functional immortality and then figure out actual immortality. You know, because imagine, right? If we so I've noticed that. So I used to ask like this go to question for new people, right? If you had the opportunity to be immortal, like have immortality, um, would you? You know, would you want to? Uh, yeah or nay? Yes or no? Right? Um, Most people say no, right? And there's one person recently where I actually got her to think uh, of an alternate or of damn, I miss her. Sucks like it doesn't matter. Anyways, I actually got her to think of like the flip side, where originally her answer was no, and then we just kept talking, and it was like a good minute of me explaining like, okay, well, I mean, if life wasn't terrible, I don't actually remember like what her reasoning was to say no. Or, oh, no, she didn't say no. Actually, it was just yes. She was the first person that just said yes, pretty much. Um, yeah. I have a feeling that she had like a little bit of a like a god complex or like a worshiping kink. I don't know. It's pretty fucking hot in my opinion. That's pretty damn cool. Um, yeah. Also another thing, I think it would make more sense if we lived in a matriarchy, you know, rather than a patriarchy. You know, another little fun little thing I discovered. If you look up the word if you look up the word malevolent, right? The first four letters of that is male. It's pretty fucking odd, right? It's interesting, you know what I mean? It's pretty interesting in my opinion, right? But it was a study done with like baboons, I think, um, where they basically did two studies. One where they took all of the women out and they just had the male baboons raising the little men, and they just raised them how you would typically think stereotypical men would raise other men if it was just them. You know, fight, eat, dominate, blah blah blah, right? And then they did the other study where it was little baby chimps, just like before, and but it was only women raising them, right? It was only the female chimps, right, or female baboons, right? Whatever they were called, I forget. I kind of feel bad because I'm kind of being slightly racist towards them, but I don't know. I hope one day like we figure out how to communicate with them, you know. And technically we're kind of on the cusp of doing that. Like so like for example dogs, they have like the little and I guess you could use it for any animal. It doesn't have to be just dogs. You typically see it with dogs, but it could be any animal. But the little like not trackpad, but the what's it called? Like the pad thing with the buttons, right? And I don't know if the dog like understands what the buttons are saying, or if they understand that this button gets this reaction or this button means this thing. Well, they basically push the button, and but because dogs aren't fucking stupid. They're not like they're not they're not they're not mentally handicapped. Now to a degree, technically they are compared to us, just like how we are compared to whatever's smarter than us. Like if a being is 1% smarter than us, then we're like infants to them. Not even. Oh my goodness. Anyways, point is, basically, right. Uh, um, God damn, this is long. Oh my goodness, I didn't think it was gonna be this long. Holy shit, I just started rambling. Damn. Well, that's what I'm good at, you know. That's why I write a lot. Stupid. Oh man. Oh my days. Anyways, yeah. So, uh, they raised the female baboons, right, with the babies, and the babies they came up and they were basically just they were kind and nurturing, but they were also protective over the women, right? But not in like a possessive way. It's more so like I'm protecting you because I care for you, right? Not that like I own you type shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that I think that's the most frustrating part to live with, right? And it's worse because a lot of us are just lumped to the same categories. Because I look a certain way, I'm just lumped into a category, and it fucking sucks. And then you start perceiving yourself that way. Like you don't want to talk to people because then you feel like they automatically perceive you as some weirdo. You know, like oh, this guy's here to talk to me. He probably has some bullshit reason, or oh, he's trying to get my number, or some shit. I don't know, dude. And then I feel worse when that is my goal, and then I feel like shit afterwards because I'm thinking like, oh, that was such a scummy thing to do. It's like they don't care. They're a stranger. They don't care. Why would they care to keep in contact with someone they just met? You know what I mean? Like there's billions of people, and at that, each of us have our own lives. So why does it matter? You know, like you meet a stranger, you know, and you think there's like some kind of connection, blah blah blah, and then oh, they just don't respond. You know, it fucking sucks. Like, so there was a time where I was out fundraising, right? Um, and I ended up meeting this person, and originally I was like pitching them or whatever. Or no. I talked to them like as they were going in, and then they were basically saying how like they were going to how they were gonna go inside get coffee and they were gonna come back out and I'd be able to pitch them and everything. So they came out, they sat down to eat, and then and we sat down, we talked and everything. And I forgot. I think she was a, like she was gonna be a lawyer or like a doctor. I forgot. It was so long ago. But basically, the point is that um, I wasn't really thinking anything of it per se. Like now, obviously, when you meet someone, you have like a good conversation. Yes, like so like I'm one of those people where like I see like the entire life with that person type shit, right? It sounds so weird. I feel so stupid saying it out loud, but it happens like often, so fucking often, you know. Um, but anyways, right? So we're having like a good conversation back and forth, right? And then at the end of it, um, like I don't remember if you don't. I forgot. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't think she donated or not. It doesn't matter. But we ended up exchanging like information or whatever, and then agreed to like go for coffee that following Sunday or something. Um, and then I don't remember, but I just remember like that Saturday. I basically like checked back in with her, like, hey, so we're still good to go for Sunday? Because I said Sunday because that was like my only day off, right? That's our only day off. We work. I don't fucking work there anymore. God damn it. Ugh. We work there, or used to work Monday to Saturday, or Monday to Saturday. Get off early Saturdays. Um, and they just they didn't respond, right? And it makes you feel bad because one, you're thinking of, oh well, I'm just bothering them throughout their day anyway, or I'm just bothering them, um, at a point during the day. Like no one wants to be bothered at a random part at a random point of their day. You know what I mean? They're on the track of doing whatever they're doing, and then they get a random text message, and then for all you know, they deleted your number after the conversation. So it's really random, like they don't know who this is. It's like, oh hey, can we remember our coffee agreement? Like, yo, you want to still go out tomorrow for coffee? But they deleted your number. They're like, who the fuck is this? What the fuck? Okay, weird, type. You know what I mean? But yeah, they don't respond, and then you feel bad because you feel like you're bothering them, but then you also feel bad because no one likes to be ignored, Like it doesn't take much effort to acknowledge someone's existence. Just like it doesn't take effort to be nice, you know. And I'd argue it takes more effort to be mean to someone. You know what I mean? Because being nice isn't like, oh, I'm gonna compliment everyone I see. It's just treating people cordially, treating people with respect, treating people the way you would want to be treated, you know? Not to like extremes like oh I like getting slapped when I fuck, you know. So I'm gonna slap everyone that I fuck. No, it's like I got that one from a video. That wasn't mine. But no, it's more so like when you walk up to someone, like you look at them, acknowledge their existence, you know, maybe you give a smile, maybe you don't, maybe you just wave. Hi, hi, you know. Because at the end of the day, like we're all people. We all exist on this rock together. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be an asshole. Like you just do not have to be an asshole, you know? And like maybe you could say, "Oh, I'm going through shit," but at the same time, you going through shit doesn't mean you have to then lash out other people. You know, you don't have to lash out at other people. You know what I mean? Like just because you're going through shit. You know, now it's easier said than done. Emotions are emotions. They take over sometimes, and you have to learn to live with them and learn to understand them. Learn to not contain them, but yeah, just understand them. Understand why you reacted that way, why you felt that way. You know, like for example, I know why I reacted the way I did with that lady because I was tired of dealing with those types of people every day. You know, now it's to different degrees. Everyone is not that rude, but some people are. And the sad part is it all builds up. You know, for me, um, like when I got mad at her, I didn't feel like I was just getting mad at her. I felt like I was telling her what I wanted to tell countless other people that treat me the same way. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they don't care. They don't have to care. You know. So pretty much when that happened, like she does that, and I sit back and think, because the sad part is like the day prior, I had like kind of a shitty day, and then that day, I made an effort to have a better day, and I noticed how pretty much I have to either not care at all. Basically, yeah, I just have to not care at all and just try to stay as neutral as possible, so I don't basically get in my feels, you know, so I don't feel any kind of way about anything, you know. Because I've noticed like when I get too happy, I'm destined to crash at some point. Something's gonna go wrong, and then I'm gonna start feeling like I'm gonna start feeling extremely shitty, you know. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah. Then again, none of this fucking matters, right? We're all destined to die anyway. Until someone figures out immortality, we're all gonna fucking die. None of this matters. Anyways, but yeah, so I know why I reacted the way I did for her. Like when I was looking at her, when I was talking to her, I wasn't talking to her. I was talking to every person that treated me the same way. So basically, what happened in a literal sense of what happened after that moment, right? Is I basically sat back and I shouldn't have did this, but I fed into that negative emotion, pretty much. I basically thought to myself, like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of dealing with this as the last straw, right? So she was going into a crumble cookie, right? So I walked in after her and I started talking to her, and I was really emotional as I was doing it. So I was stuttering and everything. That's what happens when I get really pissed or really sad, or I mean, it's really just when I get really, really pissed off, I start stuttering. But I used to have like a really, really, really bad stuttering problem when I first started the job, right? Like really, really bad. Like I could not talk to people. It was scary. It was terrifying, basically. So I basically walk in and I am it gets to a point to where like I'm almost yelling at her to a degree. I'm not full on yelling, but like my tone is heightened. I have like at the end like my tone is raised compared to when it started when I first started talking to her, right? But I basically walk in and she's like, "Hey, ma'am, um, like pretty much the gist of it is like I'm telling her how rude she was, and you don't talk to people like that. You don't treat people that way. You don't treat people like that." And then the reason I knew she was manipulative is because the first thing she says is, "Oh, you followed me here. Oh, that's harassment. Oh, I could call the cops on you." Um, and now technically she's right. I think so. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm pretty sure that would count as harassment. I think. I don't know. Um, but at the same time, like a reaction's a reaction. You know, you can't treat people like shit and then get upset when they confront you on it. You know what I mean? Um, but basically, I do that, and then like it's a little crumble cookie place. Like most of the story is them making the cookies. Like people have gone to crumble cookie, they know what it looks like, right? Um, some of them are bigger than others, yeah, but this one's like a small one, right? Anyways, doing that, blah blah blah, and then I end up leaving, and then as I'm leaving out the door, like I'm literally walking out the door, or I'm like I'm done with the interaction pretty much, and then I'm walking away, walking towards the door, and then the employee lady's like, "Yeah, you have to leave." Like, no shit, that's why I'm fucking leaving. So I I'm leaving, and as I'm going out the door, I basically stop in the doorway, and I start talking to the employee lady, and I'm telling her, I forgot. I forgot. It was like, oh my goodness. It's like all kind of a blur now. I just remember like bits and pieces. Like I remember the main things of what happened, but I don't remember every individual moment. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Um, but yeah. So I'm basically now talking to her and saying how like rude the lady was and blah blah blah. And then the ending part of it is pretty much so. What kind of like set me off a little more was the lady gives like a side eye to the customer that's just watching the whole thing, right? She's off to the side along the wall, and she gives a side eye to the lady, and I can see it in her face that she's either thinking like either I don't care or like why does what you're saying matter, or like this dude's crazy or some shit. You know what I mean? Um, and then that's when I just kind of like stop myself and I move to the last thought I had, where it was, you don't care. Why would any of you care? Why would any of you give a fuck? You know what I mean? Um, all you care about is your job. Understandable. You care about your job. You care about the perceived reality. Um, at the end of the day, none of them saw what happened outside. None of them saw the way I was treated for no reason. All they saw was my reaction. So I look like the crazy one. I look like the crazy big ass black dude walking up on a lady and two other girls for seemingly no reason. All they hear is, "You don't treat people that way. You don't do that to people." They're probably thinking, "Oh, this dude's crazy. Oh, this dude's a stalker. This dude's fucking nuts." Or I don't know. This dude's harassing some random lady because he's upset about something. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't really matter though. You know, the event's over, right? Um, you know, just you don't have to be rude to people. You don't have to be rude. You know. Oh, so as I'm basically leaving, right? And you don't do this shit either. Do never, ever, ever do this unless you either mean it or you have the power and money to just not give a fuck about what you're saying, right? Um, and even then, I still wouldn't recommend doing this shit. So basically, I walk out and uh um I uh I walk out, right, and then I get a picture of the license plate. I get a picture of them as they come out, and then in hindsight, I also feel like a dumbass because like I'm not gonna do shit with those fucking pictures. Like, what was I actually gonna do? You know what I mean? Uh, but basically, yeah, yeah. So I get a picture of them, right, and then she comes out, and we keep going back and forth, right? Uh, oh no, no, can I get a picture of them? And then she starts. I think she records me or she gets a picture of me or some shit. But we start going back and forth, And then she says some shit, all right? And then I just remember, so this is the part that you just do not fucking do, right? You never do this shit, ever, 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 right? So I basically tell her like, oh no, ma'am, oh no, it's like, no, ma'am, I'm petty. I'll find your shit in 10 years and break it all, you know? It's like, oof, you know what I mean? Like that's fucked up, you know what I mean? That's extremely fucked. Is it understandable? Kinda, you know? Because like if somebody is petty, they're petty, you know what I mean? Um, but it's like just don't do it. You know, just don't do that shit. So yeah, um, I don't even think I have those. Did I delete them? I think I deleted them. I don't know. I might still have them. I don't know. I have like a shit ton of pictures in my phone, on my laptop, just everywhere. Pictures, screenshots. It's really just screenshots, mostly screenshots. Anyways, pointing back to the story, right? Story that nobody gives a fuck about. This shit don't fucking matter at all. Anyways, um, I guess in a way that kind of like gets a weight off of everything because none of this shit matters. You know, like nobody gives a fuck. No one cares. No one cares. And the sad part is like when you're perceived as just a random person on the street, you're treated like shit because no one cares. But then when you have an exorbitant amount of money, you're treated like shit because you have a lot of money. And people perceive you a certain kind of way then. Gonna watch. It's gonna happen. I guarantee you. I guarantee you it is going to fucking happen. I guarantee you. You know? I guarantee it. It's gonna happen. You know? People are gonna look at things that I've said, or people are gonna look at things that I've like all of my writings, writings and stuff, right? Writings and shit, right? All this time, right? They're gonna look at it and then they're just not gonna care. Right? And then eventually it's gonna grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. People are gonna start looking at it, people are gonna start caring more and more and more and more, right? And then that's when you basically have like the hippie mindset, pretty much. Nothing wrong with hippies. Hippies are fucking dope. Fun fact: I can't even actually think of like a hippie, like a stereotypical hippie. I don't know. I'm basically like the hipster. That's what I mean. I think I mean the hipster. Basically, someone who just hates popular things because they're popular. You know what I mean? People that just want to go against the grain just because they can. You know, it's not that they have a genuine reason. It's that I just hate this thing because it's popular, right? People do it with items. People do it with people. People do it with concepts. You know. Oh, excuse me. Like for example, atheists, right? I consider myself an atheist, and I used to be like one of those asshole atheists, right? But like some atheists, there it's not more so that like they just don't believe in God because it doesn't make sense, or like oh if one religion's true they're all true and like who's to say that yours specific one is true, um even though like we're all just taking bits and pieces from each other, like how Yahweh in the Christian Bible like that's its name that's the God's name that you're not supposed to say it's forbidden oh my God it's like the most taboo thing you can do saying its actual name Yahweh. And if that's the case, then why would you give your beings the ability to say your name if you can't say it? You know what I mean? Like if it's truly forbidden, you simply trying to speak the name would not register as words. You know what I mean? If that was how it actually worked, right? Um. Anyways, yeah. So like the concept of Yahweh, right? That was a storm god from an entirely different pantheon. You know what I mean? Like but if your God is the one true God, then why was it pulled from somewhere else? You know what I mean? And even then, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, yeah, Islam. I keep mixing up like Islam and Muslim. I keep forgetting which is which. Um, I think Muslim is the people is the type of people that worship Islam, and Islam is the name of the religion. I always forget. I always get them mixed up because I see them as like one and the same, but I know they're literally not. It's just hard to separate them because it's just you know what I mean? It's just too symbiotic, I guess. I don't think that's the right word. Anyways, they're kind of like all just different aspects of the same. They all worship like the concept of God that they all worship is the same God. They're all worshiping the same God basically. But what you could say is like Like Islam, you worship more of the wrath of God. Judaism, you worship more of the you worship more of the pacifist nature of God, essentially. And Christians, you worship the I mean, really, you don't even worship God, you worship Christ, really. But the person who I firmly think was basically a chiropractor, a medicine man, and a dude that probably studied under like Buddha or some shit to like understand how to work his body. Basically, I technically didn't make that up myself either. I got that from a movie. Uh, oh, I might link that. I might link that. Actually, I have the films recorded. Actually, do I? No, no, I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. Do no, I don't. I have the other three films recorded. I have what's it called? I have Unbreakable. Yeah, Unbreakable, Split, and Mr. Glass recorded. Right. By the way, those are amazing fucking movies. Amazing. So I saw like Unbreakable um when I was a kid. I think I was a teenager, and I saw like half of it. Right. Or no, 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 no. Actually, I think I saw all of it. Yeah, I saw all of it as a kid, but I was just randomly scrolling on or like scrolling. But yeah, I was randomly flipping through channels, right? And I ended up stumbling upon this movie. And it turns out it's like a superhero movie, but I didn't realize it, right? And basically, it's about this dad who has never gotten sick, never gotten hurt from an accident. He used to play football, right? And he basically used this car crash that he got into with his girlfriend, who later becomes his wife, as an excuse to get out of football. To basically say like, "Oh, I got injured, so I'm just done," so he can just go and work a job and then live with his girlfriend slash wife, right? And then basically like he ends up learning later on in life that he basically is invincible to the extent that like he's basically just super fucking strong and durable, basically like a modern day Superman. Like he can't fly, but he's just really fucking strong. Uh, yeah, like if Connor Kent was a middle aged white dude, basically, or white dude, quote unquote. You can't see the quotes, but I made air quotes. That's a funny thing. Like you can't see my hands, but I still do it. Like you can fucking see it. That's so funny. But yeah. Um. But yeah. Uh. It's an awesome movie, dude. Oh my goodness, it's freaking awesome. Oh my god, yo, wake it, awesome. But yeah, so yeah, and then the second movie is Split, and then the last one is Mr. Glass. Um, but damn, and I want them to keep going with it. See, that would be oh my goodness. So there's so many great things you could do with like billions of dollars, right? Billions of dollars. You could invest in continuing series that you liked, bro. Like you could have the person that made those movies. He just keeps making them and makes his entire universe, right? Makes his entire superhero universe, right? Um, but it's interesting because I think it flips their entire thing on its head, though, because it's like, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. But please, please, please watch those films. It's Unbreakable, Split, and Mr. Glass. You have to watch them in order. You have to watch Unbreakable first, then Split, then Mr. Glass. You can't watch them out of order. Wouldn't make sense, and it just spoils too much shit. But you have to watch them in order. Unbreakable, Split, and Mr. Glass. I almost said Mr. Glass second. Split, then Mr. Glass, right? Oh man, dude. Oh god. Or just redoing mangas, right? Like Uzumaki, right? Redoing that one, or getting manga that you love, getting them to have animes, right? Because now you have the money to actually produce the anime yourself, right? Or even basically starting like a manga publishing company or branch of your company, right? Where basically you have a warehouse and you get and you buy the machines to print books and make books, right? And you just have a team that basically their job is just print the books and then mail them off to people, right? And then that could be to where like how people just want to like if people have stories and have concepts that they want to make, that's how they do it, you know. They basically just make it, and then you could have a thing where like okay, you if you get X amount of people to pre-order your book, then we'll print it, you know, um, or something, you know. And then the best part is because you don't have to focus on profit. Like at least me personally, because I don't have to focus on profit, you could make it to the point where like our goal is to profit like $1 per book, right? Um, you know, and then you just split the shit, right? So like 10% goes to us, and then 90% goes to the person that made the damn book, right? Um, you know, because the entire point of it is like we're just the middle person to be able to get your book out for people to read, right? Uh, you know, and even then, also there's still the angle of like you can just make a Ko-fi or a Patreon or a website, and then have your book digitally read on there, right? You upload the pages or upload the chapters on there, and then people read it, right? And if they want a physical version, then they just order it from us, right? You know, um, and they can put in requests like maybe they want certain people in the office to sign it, maybe they want your autograph, you know, on it, you know, or maybe they want like a message or something, you know, or maybe it's like a gift to someone else, and then they want a message to them on it, you know, like imagine like a good birthday gift, right? For someone, and it's a manga it's a manga or a manga where it's at that they've been reading for a long time and they love it and they've always wanted a physical version of it. So then for their birthday, they order it and then we ship it to them, you know, as a birthday gift. Like that'd be fucking awesome, you know. Um, but anyways, whatever. Uh, I just realized I never even finished describing the whole like universe slash multiverse thing in my thing. So basically, there's like 5 planes, right? There's basically where is it? Where are my notes? Hold on. Let me just find the actual fucking notes. 'Cause I don't know where they are. I have 2 little notebooks that I use, and oh, actually, I don't know. Is it in here? Are you in here, little notebook? Are you in here? Yeah, yeah. Are you in here? Oh, yep, found it. Okay, so there's basically 5 layers, right? 5 layers. Basically the first plane is like the one where everyone the standard like where everyone exists, right? And then there's an inverted plane above that one, and then above that one is an ungoverned plane where all I can say I don't like spoiling things. Um, all I can say is everyone there is frozen for some reason, right? Frozen as in like typical like think of like Medusa stone frozen, right? Um, but it's basically all the NPCs from the first and second plane. They all just from the third plane. They're just frozen in statues, or really think of like Doctor Stone type frozen, right? They're all petrified basically. Um, in various poses and various positions, right? Uh, hold on, I'm gonna find this. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so they're all frozen on the third one, and then I believe the fourth one is like the God plane or something. And then hold on, I gotta find it. Hold on. And then the different planes allow give you access to a different cap on like your magic pool, which pretty much is like um the goal is to like lump your stamina and health into one. Um, uh, yeah. So like typically how like think of how like Ki and Dragon Ball works or Chakra Naruto or basically just any of those systems where you're basically your health, quote unquote, is like that magic system's type of stamina, pretty much. So how like what's it called? How 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 like in Naruto when you run out of chakra, technically you die, right? Um, right? You just cease to exist, right? Because your chakra is now depleted, right? Um, which I don't know. Like I think they could have. I forget who it was. I think Kishimoto's Dragon Ball. I forget the authors. I don't know. I always kind of forget them now. Um, but Naruto could have been so much better, bro. It could have been so much fucking better. It's cool for what it is, but I think and I actually I wrote a mini like blueprint story of this too. But where like what should have happened after Naruto and Sasuke's fight. Basically, they both should have kind of come to an understanding of each of their perspectives. Um, Sasuke would have warmed up to Naruto's perspective, and then Naruto would have definitely warmed up to Sasuke's perspective. Uh, and it would have ended up resulting in them both becoming rogue ninjas and going off and basically creating the United States of the ninja village or of the ninja world, pretty much. But it would basically be like their own little nation where they just take in rogue ninjas. They just take in rogue ninjas or like defectors or people, right? Because it's also a little insane to me. Found it. It's a little insane to me how like you simply leaving your village is now you becoming a traitor to your village. You know, like that's a little fucked. Like you're not just free to go. You can't just leave when you want. You know. But anyways, I found the thing. So basically, oh, there's six. There's not five. There's six. Okay, cool. So basically, the first one is like the base. It's the base world, right? Where pretty much your magic cap is 1 billion, right? God damn a bill. God damn. All right, cool. Whatevs. Anyways, yeah. Um, I think I'm probably gonna lower these because that's a little much. That's also a lot because that's like a lot. So, God damn. I don't know. I might lower these. I might make that like 100,000 up to 1 million probably. Anyways, the base one that's where like everyone exists, right? And then the second world, second layer, yeah, the second world or second layer is the inverted layer. Oh, excuse me. Um, and then the third one is the unified heaven layer. Um, and then in between that is the void layer, and the void is basically where all of the I believe that's where all all bodies or all vessels that cease to exist to go, pretty much. So, like the entire concept in my thing is that technically, like just like how matter works in our world, nothing can be created or nothing can be yeah, matter isn't created or destroyed. It just changes mediums. Um, basically, a core concept within my whole thing is that basically no material is wasted, pretty much. So even if you destroy someone's vessel, it doesn't exactly it's not just destroyed, it just changes to a different location. It's just somewhere else. So basically, let's say like you kill someone, right? Um let's say you kill someone, right? Basically the vessel like when they respawn, the vessel that they're technically in now is a copy of their original vessel, and their original vessel is now in the void, basically. So you could actually make a career out of killing people with like really strong bodies, right? And then going and retrieving their vessels from the void and selling them off to people, like oxygen, oxygen, auctioning their vessels off to other people, right? And they can just transfer their souls into those vessels and then use those vessels, right? There's like a whole fucking system to this whole thing. I worked it out like a long time. This has been like a year, technically like years in the making. It's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, and then beyond the void. So there's the base world, right? Or the first world, right? And the second world, or the inverted world, um, which you could technically see them as planes, right? Um, and then after that, there's the unified heavens, um, and then there is the void, which is basically in between the unified heavens and the ungoverned world, which is the fourth world. And the next, the fourth world, the ungoverned, um, and then that's where like everyone is everyone's frozen like in stone, you know. And then um, yeah, and then after that is the bloody nest, or the fifth world, which is, I kind of forgot what that one was. Not gonna lie. Um, I think that was the one that was ruled by the. That's one that's like ruled by like a corrupted Jesus Christ. I forget. I don't remember. I think I'm probably gonna go with that now that I say it out loud. And I have like um now I have an audio stamp of me saying that. So now, fuck it, we're gonna go with that. Shit. And this probably isn't gonna be the first game I'm gonna make, because there's so many taboo type games that could be made and they would make a lot of money and they would be so fun to play. But people are so attached to the things that they love, the things they're attached to, that they wouldn't they it would get such an uproar. Like imagine a game where basically it's like the Record of Ragnarok, right? Right? Um, but pretty much it's a fighting game. It's a standard fighting game. It could be Tekken. I prefer Tekken style, or more like an open arena style game, but it has like grounded gameplay, right? So like you have like the Tekken type movement, but it's grounded. You have a different perspective on the camera. You're not looking from the side. You're looking from like the back more so. But it's like an open arena, so you could have like 5v5, right? Anyways, it would basically be like a pantheon fighting game. So like everyone from all the religions fighting each other, and it would pretty much be like just a giant fighting game with like a thousand character roster, and then you could have a way to where people can make their own versions of the pantheon characters, um, to where like they could basically just do that, and then they could like trade and sell them to each other. You know what I mean? So they can use them, or you just put it on a market, and then people can just use, or maybe you just make it public and people just use it for free. Just whatever you want, right? But like that'd be cool as shit. Like imagine like Poseidon going up against Noah, or Aphrodite's going up against Set, or Jesus going against Zeus. Well, I think that happened. No, it didn't happen. I'm thinking Record of Ragnarok, not real life, because technically none of that should happen. Anyways, or this is fucking long. Who sits and just watch? Actually, no, I'm a dumbass. I sit and watch hour-long videos. I'm thinking like, who's gonna sit and watch someone ramble for like an hour? And at that, it's like a bunch of sporadic fucking topics, so like it's not even in an order. And I know I'm not gonna do this shit. I'm not gonna put like stamps in the fucking video of like where certain things are where certain things are in the in the thing, like where certain topics are in the video, because it goes back and forth with a lot of different shit. Like I forgot what the rest of the video was about already. Like I don't remember what I said earlier. Like I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember every individual thing. And I'm not gonna edit this shit. I'm just gonna put the so like I have this picture that I've been working on, or I worked on yesterday, right? You'll see it when you'll hear the video if you watch it, if you care. Well, obviously, I mean, if you're hearing me in the future, then well, first off, if you're hearing me in the future, hello, this is past me. Hello, how you doing? Um, uh, oh, I guess it's a perfect opportunity as well. So to explain my name, right? Sozio the Rogue or Sozio, right? And it depends on how I want to say it. I don't know. Future me will decide, I guess. But I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. I understand the point of what you're saying. The point of that name is so like genuinely how I see our entire race. And I had like this weird eureka moment one day when I on that year off that I took from working, where I realized that we are literally just cultivating a race of gods in a way. Like our social medias, like you gain followers, people that follow you. That's fucking weird, you know. Like, and that doesn't ring any bells to anyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, am I the only one that's ever thought that? Like, social media is about gaining followers, bro. You know, and people worship celebrities as like somewhat gods, right? You know, some people fall so deep in love with them that they'll write off any heinous thing they fucking do. You know, partially because of just blind faith, or some people it's just because they just want to believe in this person so bad, or they just don't care. They just like this person, so they're gonna write off whatever they do. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. You know, it's an interesting thing to me. You know what I mean? Is it not interesting to any of you? Uh, but yeah. Um, interesting. That's interesting. No, 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 no. Yeah, same. Yeah. Okay. Also, that. Yeah, same. Yeah. Can someone figure out where the fuck that's from? Like, can anyone figure out where that's from? Because I don't remember where I got that shit from. I think it's from a cartoon when I was looking at it as a kid, but I don't remember where the fuck. It might be from like Tom and Jerry or something. I love Tom and Jerry. I still do. It's funny because I laughed. I laugh harder now as an adult watching it than I did as a kid. 'Cause as a kid, I think I was just blindly watching it, like, haha, funny cat chasing mouse, haha. And then as an adult, it's even funnier. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. It's just hilarious. Um, but I don't know. Like, yeah, same, yeah. Like, I do that often, like randomly. I don't know. It's a lot of shit I do randomly. I get it from my mom though. She was the same way when I was yeah. There's like I've come to realize like I am definitely my mother's child. Like the way I am now is the way she was when she was my age. Um, the only difference is that now that she's she's much older. Now she's basically lost her rebellion, like that rebellious spirit, you know. Um, and it just sucks. Like I haven't talked to her in a long time, a long, long, long. I miss her a lot. Anyways, um, fuck, I forgot. Oh yeah, yeah. So Sozio the Rogue, right? Basically, I ended up telling like one of my like deepest, darkest secrets to someone that I considered a friend at one point, right? And it was basically because, and I kind of should have saw the signs, like she wasn't mature enough to understand it, um, like way earlier on than this. But I basically expressed to her this secret of mine in confidence. I don't know. Um, like thinking like maybe she'd understand. I don't know, but it was pretty much in a moment where like we were talking on the phone because I think she called me randomly or something. Um, and I was kind of in like a neutral mindset. Like I wasn't like happy or sad. I was kind of just neutral. I was just there, existing. You know. Um, and she saw that as she interpreted that as off-putting. Like you're not really engaging or you're not really there or whatever, right? Um, and then I basically ended up saying too much, and she basically wanted to know more, and that was the issue. It's like curiosity killed the cat, you know. Um, and everyone has like deep dark secrets, you know. And if they don't, then they're either someone who just never really did shit wrong throughout their life, and they're like too innocent to understand the darkness, or they were just lucky and they never did shit fucked up, or they never had a terrible childhood or something. Um, but a good chunk of people have like extremely dark secrets, extremely dark. And at the end of the day, it's just life, you know? All I can say is I didn't do anything. That's all I can say. I didn't physically do anything to anyone. All I can say is I almost did something twice. So I basically expressed this deep dark secret to her, and then I remember there was silence, and then basically she just expressed that she was scared, basically. Um, and there's only one other person that I told this to, and the difference is like, so she was like an older lady that I had a fling with for a bit. She's like 40 something, and I'm telling this to her, but she was mature enough, she understood it, right? Um, and then, but yeah, so, and then I remember telling her like basically, and I remember explaining all of it to her, like why it happened, how it almost happened, when it happened. And I remember I got the time frame wrong because I told her that it happened when I was a teenager, but I remember it happened when I was a kid. Like instead of like high school age, I was like, I think I was like middle school age or like elementary actually. I don't know. I think it was either elementary or middle school, right? But yeah, pretty much. If you have a fucked up childhood, there's a possibility you may end up being a fucked up person, extremely fucked up. And some people stop themselves before they get to that point. Others don't. They let it consume them, and they end up in prison. You know. But basically, I expressed every layer of it to her: how it happened, why it happened, when it happened, despite me fucking up the damn timeline of when it happened. Um, and she was just scared, you know. Um, and that's what I've always feared, you know. You tell people things that are extremely dark, and then they see you in a different way, you know. And it sucks because it's also just another form of rejection, which fucking hurts. Apparently, there was like a study done where like rejection is basically the same as getting punched in the face. Like your brain interprets it the same way. It's the same type of hurt feeling, pretty much. But yeah, so and it's understandable, but at the same time, it also just sucks because and the reason why I say I should have realized like the immaturity long before that moment was because like all I can really say is like she was one of those black chicks that grew up in a wealthy household. She had a wealthy family, um, and she was bullied by people around her. It's either like, oh, she's the only black one in the group, or some other thing, right? Um, but basically, she's the type of like rich black chick, or the chick that like grew up in a rich household and she ended up kind of growing with that kind of mindset. She ended up getting out of it, right, out of that mindset. But you can still see the immaturity that came about through living like that. And as a result, she fell in love with the stereotypical with the concept of the stereotypical hood black dude, basically. Um, yeah, well, that's all I can really say about it. I don't want to say too much. That's a little fucked up, but that's it. Um, but it just sucks, you know. Like being rejected in general just sucks, and it's even worse when you feel like you have to reject yourself before so they can't reject you. You know, like you go into a situation hoping for the best, but you get any inclination that like it's not worth it. It's like you shut down and you reject yourself. You reject the notion of them even wanting to talk to you, so that you can just avoid them actually rejecting you. You know, it's just premeditated rejection, I guess, or like premature rejection. I don't know how to call it, but it just uh, it just sucks. But yeah, like the next, so it's the ungoverned fourth world, and then the bloody nest fifth world, and then the last world is the abyssal the abyssal vast, right? Which I remember I named it this because I had another set of characters. I had another story where like the god of that, or basically the god guiding those characters was named Vast, pretty much. The god's name was Vast, and it was guiding these four characters to like basically to basically achieve their destiny of like helping the world basically. But pretty much for like a lot of the concepts in my entire like mythos thing, basically every concept has a story attached to why it exists, pretty much. At least that's the goal anyway. You know what I mean? Like I have one where the title is to create a sphere or to craft a sphere, and it's basically about four different people that end up in a throne room basically, and the throne's empty pretty much, and it's basically one of those stories where like the opening scene is like it starts at the end point, and then the rest of the story is going through how they got to that point. Um, so I don't want to spoil it, but basically, one of the characters is a hermit. Um, one of them is uh, part of a noble class. One of them is a rags to riches type story, and then gotta be honest, I haven't looked at the story in a while, and I never finished it. A lot of my stories are like half done. Um, I forgot what the fourth one was. Um, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that one. Then again, none of this shit matters. No one gives a fuck, right? No one gives a fuck. Uh, but yeah, and the abyssal vast is where items go. So just like how when vessels are destroyed, the original goes to the abyss, or no, goes to the void, right? Um, when items are destroyed, they go to the abyssal plane, right? Um, so yeah, and I think this is an old draft of the world layout, um, but I forget. Yeah, I forget, but yeah, I have a lot of fucking notes though. Holy shit. So like, there's like another core concept with this is just the morality system of like benevolence, ambivalence, and malevolence, pretty much. So the uh, the ambivalence path, which is basically the neutral path, that the end point is basically you having the power of alchemy. Basically, I loved Full Metal Alchemist, so I kind of incorporated that into this. You basically get the power of like ultimate transmutation. You can turn anything into anything, right? By sacrificing something else, right? Benevolence, the ultimate end path of that one is I kind of forget, not gonna lie. And then same with malevolence. Yeah, but it also goes into like how other people perceive you, pretty much. So like even your deeds and how other people perceive you, and like if they wish good thing or bad things upon you, like if people curse your name or they bless your name, you know, or they pray to you or they curse you, right? I said curse twice, whatever. Um, Basically they curse you, that tacks on a point to your like malevolent side, pretty much. If they bless you, then tacks on a point to their benevolent side, right? Uh, Sad part is like the only way to really get to that like ultimate alchemist point is to stay neutral completely. Like you, effectively you get to the point to where like you don't really interact with anyone, and if you do, you try your best to not get any good or negative points toward either side, you know. Um, and there's also ways to reduce like either side, you know, like you can go to temples and like have your points reduced from either side, right? Um, or just do actions that like kind of balance the scales or whatever, right? But yeah, so like for example, people giving you gifts, right? That tacks on a point to your benevolent side, right? And then the more you have in each category, basically the world responds to it. So like if you have like a lot in malevolence to where like you're almost to like pure malevolence basically. You start seeing physical changes in your vessel and any vessel that your soul inhabits basically. And it gets to the point to where like just negative things start happening to you, pretty much. And same with benevolence, you start seeing physical changes in your vessels, so on and so forth, you know. And characters will just randomly give you gifts, you know, because they just like you a lot. Uh, but yeah, um, yeah, that's it though. Thank you for your time, whoever you are. Also, whoever you are watching this, listening. Uh, Again, thank you for your time. I hope you're having an okay day at least. You know, if it's a good day, great. If it's a bad day, um, don't worry, it'll get better. But uh, life isn't as hard as we make it out to be. Honestly, you can live life as minimalistic or as simple as you want. You know, um, you can also live it as easy as you want to. Like for example, why do families kick out their kids when they turn 18? Why don't you all live in the same place? You're paying less for rent. You're all gonna see each other at family shit anyway, so why are you all living separate anyway? Um, at the end of the day, also the family you're born into. Someone else put it in a video recently where like sometimes they view family as like a title, not even like an actual family. It's more like a title, and I vibe with that. It resonates with me because I think some people do view that as a title. You know, oh, we're family, so you have to do this. It's like, no, I don't have to do anything. Just because we're family doesn't mean I have to like you. Just because we're family doesn't mean I have to cover up your fucked up shit you're doing to other people in my family. You know, just because you're a family doesn't mean I have to talk to you. Doesn't mean I have to like you as a person. You could be a despicable person. I could just never talk to you again. And yeah, technically we're family, but not really, actually. Because I just happened to be born. You just happened to be born. You know, I didn't choose to be born here. You didn't choose to be born. You didn't choose to be born when you were born. I didn't choose to be born when I was born. And automatically because I'm born and you're related to me through connections, through familial connections, now I have to treat you a certain way. Nah, nah, bullshit. Nah, but family can be anything. You can have a found family, and that can be your family. You know, it tends to be the case that people that you choose to be your family treat you better than blood family. You know, with a lot of blood families, it's all conditional. A lot of it's conditional. You know, hey, fuck it, right? None of this really matters until someone cures death. We're all gonna die, and that sucks. I don't have to deal with death. That'd be a pain, or as Shikamaru would say, that would be such a fucking drag. Anyways, have a good one.